Well, hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Glad to have you here today. Well, I want to do a little update. Last week I was over in Lyman, Colorado, and I was giving you a report about these mysterious drones that people have seen, so-called drones, over their towns out there. And I did get a chance to talk to a whole bunch of folks, of people who had either seen these objects or knew people who had seen these objects. One person told me that a friend of theirs was leaving work at around 6 p.m. They actually worked at the local prison. There's a correctional facility in Lyman, Colorado. They were going on the highway, which goes east-west, I-70. They were speeding. They were going 80 miles an hour. And one of these objects passed right over their car, faster than they were going. And another person had said that some ranchers saw it over their ranch in a very desolate area over their cattle pasture. And I think the researcher Linda Moulton Howe even did an interview with a rancher who had seen these drones as well. But now a new angle has come forth on the drone story, and we're being told that it was nothing all along. The Colorado Department of Safety sent up an airplane 2 different nights with infrared sensors, and they haven't seen anything. And now we're being told by the news media that, in fact, what people could have been seeing were nothing more than stars. or stars or satellites. How about that? And we have a story here from MSN News that says the mystery drone faithful are undeterred by lack of evidence. Okay, they have because the Colorado Department of Public Safety hasn't found any evidence for this in their investigation. They actually interviewed a researcher, a medical sociologist from New Zealand, Dr. Robert Bartholomew. He said the drones don't really exist. It could be a case of social panic or collective delusion fueled by recent global anxiety, in the same way that belief in flying saucers spiked during the paranoia of the Cold War. How about that? We're living in a period of significant geopolitical tension, and people are very concerned about this. It creates a recipe for rumors and conspiracy theories combined with the echo chamber of social media. Rumors and social media, how about that? When people begin to get concerned about anything, be it drones, Bigfoot, or flying saucers, all of a sudden they start to scrutinize their environment and try to confirm or deny rumors. So you see, it's just, it's nothing, folks. Actually, I had my own theories about what these drones could be. So let me just go over these and see what you think. Number 1, ice crystals. You remember in an analysis of the Tic Tacs from the 2004 Nimitz incidents that the New York Times interviewed a physicist, and he said it could be ice crystals that the radar is misidentifying. And we know ice crystals form high up in the atmosphere, so if you're below on the Colorado or Nebraska plains looking up, you might see lights reflecting off these ice crystals, and these could be what your drones are. And ice crystals, that means Captain David Fravor or Kevin Day, who we've had on this channel, they were just mistaken. They're super high-tech, expensive CEC Aegis radar systems were actually just picking up ice crystals, even if after they rebooted it. You remember this physicist also said that these pilots could be suffering from neurological overload. How about that? Number 2, these drones could be flocks of birds, in particular plover. You remember that plover from the Lubbock Light sighting in Texas. They're very white underneath these birds. Lights coming up from some of the newly installed lighting systems in the plains of Colorado and Nebraska could be reflecting off these birds and creating misidentification. So it could be flocks of birds. Number 3, you guessed it, swamp gas. Why not? Swamp gas was a good explanation in the Dexter, Michigan sightings in the 60s. Could be swamp gas, I haven't seen any swamp gas in Colorado, but that doesn't mean it doesn't show up occasionally. And it could glow, and all of these people, all the sheriffs, and everyone who's seen these objects could be just seeing swamp gas. Number 4, misidentifications of the planet Venus. Now, I know there's only one planet Venus, and the sheriff's department said they saw as many 30 of these objects on the same night hovering over a widespread area. You remember that map of eastern Colorado? So maybe it's misidentifications of the planet Venus. Why not? Number 4, weather balloons. I mean, it was good enough for the Air Force to use as an explanation for the Roswell sighting. And even though in the 90s they came out with their report, Roswell case closed, they said, no, it wasn't weather balloons, but it was mogul balloons. Now, weather balloons normally don't have 4 red lights and a white light flashing in the middle, but why let the facts get in the way of a good theory? So we could be just seeing, massive fleets of weather balloons. Who knows what the Air Force is testing out there? Finally, I think we have to consider the possibility that these are enemy helicopters. It was the explanation for these very fast objects that were seen over Vietnam in the 1960s. The military referred to them as enemy helicopters, even though they went really quickly and didn't make any sound, and went faster than any helicopter anyone had ever seen. This was also used as an explanation for the unexplained Northern Tier missile UFO sightings in the 60s and 70s. You remember we've had Gary on here that was actually burned by one of these unidentified objects in Minot, North Dakota in the early 1970s when he was sent out patrol. For those of you who've seen the Gary interview, and maybe these were misidentified helicopters, right? Misidentified helicopters that go thousands of miles an hour. Who knows? So I guess what I'm really saying here is why let facts get in the way of good theories? After all, the mass media always likes to present people as really stupid, unsophisticated observers who don't know what they're seeing. And I think that's what they're doing in this case again. After all, I'm a sociologist too. And I can tell you that societies have very limited beliefs about anything that's new, be it drones or anything else. After all, there were times in the past, in the Middle Ages, where people didn't believe about vacuums inside closed glass surfaces, bottles. That was believed to be impossible. Electricity wasn't thought to be real. DNA wasn't thought to be real. What about plate tectonics? That wasn't accepted until the 1970s, okay? The idea that the Earth's plates move. Who believed in that? Well, who doesn't believe in it now, okay? Quasi-crystals, now commonly accepted to believe, but the founder of the quasi-crystals was actually thrown out of the Crystallographers Association until he won the Nobel Prize. The history of science shows that all newly discovered things are also severely doubted. It was Einstein that had that quote that new ideas are first ridiculed and then violently opposed and then accepted as self-evident. So this idea that witnesses are not to be trusted, I think it's extremely dangerous in this case. After all, the week I was there in Lyman, there was a meeting of 75 sheriffs, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and who knows who else was there at this meeting in Brush, Colorado. So are you telling us, Mr. Bartholomew and MSN.com and all these other so-called media sources that are reporting that this is nothing going on, that all these sheriff's departments are basically hallucinating? Because that's basically what you have to choose here. either people are seeing something or your law enforcement is just smoking too much dope out there in Colorado and are hallucinating. I mean, take a look at this picture I'm putting up on the screen right now. Does that look like a planet to you? That's the only thing you can see in the sky. There's a red light illuminating the sheriff deputy from behind, and so you're seeing a very bright object there. Are you telling me that all these sheriff's departments that have been seeing this for weeks after weeks are hallucinating? Come on, give me a break. This has been severe enough for them to have their phone lines jammed. Now, I haven't talked to any sheriff's deputies out there. Maybe if I go back, I will. But believe me, they've been saying that they have been seeing these objects for weeks. Even over Lyman, a sheriff's deputy said he saw one or more hovering over Lyman for 90 minutes. And I spoke to one person there who said they've seen them come up from the south, circle around the town, and then go back south. Now, does that sound like what planets do? Come on, give me a break. Now, we've been listening to this for 70 years. Most recently, in a very famous case, the Phoenix Lights, over 10,000 people saw an object very large, up to a mile in diameter, including the governor of the state, Fife Symington, move all the way from Phoenix down to Tucson, and it was seen above Phoenix too. And what were we told that it was? Flares. Flares that can somehow drift across a whole state and maintain constant altitude. So basically what we're listening to are really ridiculous counter explanations from the media. I don't know why we put up with this. We're talking credible observers here who have seen these drones. So I haven't seen them myself. I don't know literally if they're drones or something else. But we do know that credible witnesses have seen this. So if you think this is all a hallucination, or as Mr. Bartholomew says, it's just kind of mass panic in times of geopolitical tensions, rumors from social media and all this, then we all better be pretty concerned, because our law enforcement has seen these things too. And if law enforcement is hallucinating and believing in rumors on such a mass scale, then you're talking about a breakdown of social and civil society as we know it, which is equally concerning. It's either got to be one way or the other. Personally, I'm going with the sheriff's departments on this one. They've been seeing these objects for the past weeks, and many strange objects for decades, and we always put them down and say it's just stress, and it's ice crystals and flocks of birds and other sort of total BS like this. I'm not buying it. I think there's something going on out there. I think the people I've talked to know what they've seen. I trust the average person more than I trust the mass media. Sorry. Okay, that's my thoughts on it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care for now, and bye.